Hello, hello, my beautiful, beloved, sacred masculines, and anybody else who finds their way to this channel. Welcome to another episode of Deep Penetration with Star, the show where we get deep into some juicy, delicious topic regarding our sexuality with the purpose of helping us to connect more fully with our bodies, with our partners, with ourselves, with the divine, with that gorgeous, passionate, sexy, sensual energy that flows through us, that is our life force energy, that is our creativity, that is what brought us here to this planet, right? Oh my gosh, it's some powerful, powerful energy and really important topics, because we have grown up in a culture and a society that widely shuns and shames and perverts and distorts our sexual energy and really takes us out of our power. The unhealthy belief systems we've picked up through our lifetimes and through the systems we've grown up in have really kind of kept us in the dark regarding our sexual energy and our sexual expression. So the purpose of this channel and this show is to help liberate us and help us to get deep into some of those unhealthy belief systems, or just deep into beautiful energies. It's not always unhealthy stuff, we're just really opening it up and exploring it here, and with the intention of helping us to align more fully and to step into our power, step into a very healthy, gorgeous, beautiful, sexy, sensual expression of our sensual and sexual energy. Whatever that looks like for each of us individually is going to be different all across the board. And that's one of the things that we've been handed, is that sexual expression needs to look the same for everybody, and everybody needs to connect in the same way, right? And that's just not true. So we're each very individual, very unique, beautiful energies, and we need to discover what that means for us. What is our sexual expression, or what isn't it, So what isn't working for us? Anyway, so I have been deep in it lately, and kind of excited to share with you, and also feeling a little vulnerable, I got to admit. So I was talking recently, if you've been following this channel, about self-pleasuring and a daily self-pleasuring practice that I've been exploring, and with the intention of opening up my own sexual energy and really looking at where I have any hang-ups or unhealthy patterns that are keeping me from really experiencing all the love, joy, beauty, pleasure, passion, and sensuality that the universe has to offer, that is, coming from my own experience, right? My own beautiful energy. What is going on that hinders and blocks that beautiful sexual expression, my creativity, my passion, right? So and how much pleasure can I open up to, right? And that's something that I challenge all of us to, like, how much can we open up to? We're very blocked and repressed and shut down. And if we're shut down in our sexual energy, we're likely shut down in a lot of areas of our lives, because as we do one thing is the way we do many things. So getting into it. Self-pleasuring. I have this understanding and knowing and experience of a deep connection and communion with the divine through our sexual energy, right? Through my own sexual expression and my own, itch, the energy that's flowing through, right? And I always kind of want to connect in with that bigger cosmic divine love and unity and oneness. And so this is something that we notice when we're self-pleasuring, and something I talked about recently in those past videos. I invite you to go explore those if you're curious to hear more about that. What shows up for us. And I realized, there's an attachment to, like, this divine connection, communion with source, when I'm exploring with myself, with my own sexual energy. And so there I am, getting into it and looking to connect with the divine. And the stuff that's going through my head, the fantasies, are not not that way, you know. They're just like, I'm fantasizing about getting in the you know, that's what's coming through for me, right? And so I'm like, and I found myself getting really frustrated. It's like, no, I want to be connecting with the divine. That doesn't seem spiritual, you know. I'm just like, oh my God. So I really had to open into that and look at that and like, where is the judgment? Where do we decide, you know, what is and what isn't sacred, what is and what isn't source, and what is it's bringing all aspects of ourselves onto the path, all aspects of our sexuality on the path. I don't get to just have this one experience of sexuality, of my sexual energy, right? I can't be attached to what it is supposed to show up at or what I'm trying to move it towards, right? Because that's it's not the goal for me. The goal is to integrate all parts of myself. And I really want to support all of us to integrate all parts of ourselves. That's why we're integrating the feminine and the masculine. That's why we integrate, and there's no judgment, right? Not judging one thing as good or bad, sacred or profane, you know, that's, so it's, so it's shadows and light, right? I have to bring all parts of myself. I have to bring all the parts that want to just get down and dirty and just like, yeah, let's fucking go for it, right? And then the parts are just like, wow, I really want to connect with that gorgeous essence of you in this beautiful, I was going to say sacred way, but it's all sacred. We don't get to decide what is and isn't. You know, that's where we've created a lot of split for ourselves. You know, we compartmentalization, judgment and criticism when we decide one thing is good and one thing is not, you know. That's the problem. That's what we've been given around our sexuality. Like, this isn't okay. There's a lot of judgment around this particular activity, but this one's okay. You know, if you're a missionary, you're married, you're in a monogamous relationship, that's okay, so long as it's for procreation or, you know, something. A lot of rules on that shit. This over here, getting in the you know, that's not okay. That's caused so much suffering and so much damage to us. And I recognize, like, wow, I'm still carrying those belief systems. I'm still judging this as not okay, or that's shadow, that's darkness, that's like the lower expression of me. I want to be up here. That is a huge pitfall on the spiritual path, when we just only want to be at this elevated place and think that that's the way we're supposed to be. That is bullshit. We're humans in a human body. We're complex. We have many different expressions. We need to bring it all onto the path and integrate all of ourselves. We cannot be judging parts of ourselves as good or bad. That's where the problem comes. That's what we've been doing, and it doesn't work. So I have to bring in all of my parts, all of myself, all the ways I show up, all the interesting ways I want to express my sexual energy and connect with another person, you know? That's where I'm going to find the real sacredness, the real beauty of our sexual energy, and the real beauty of my own humanity, when I can embrace all parts of myself and really bring it on board. So I just wanted to really highlight that and bring that. I know I've talked about this before, but it's, you know, this is why we continue on with our journey. This is why I am challenging myself to a daily self-pleasuring practice, which admittedly I haven't been doing every single day, but I've been trying to remember it and doing pretty good. But the things that come through with this practice for me are just hugely eye-opening, like that. Like, oh my gosh, so I'm still doing that to myself. I'm still judging this, that, or the other parts of myself as better or less than, you know, more desirable, you know? And it's just like, so that's why I'm doing this practice. This is why we do practices. This is why we go on this spiritual journey, and we move into exploring these aspects of ourselves to see where we are shut down, where we are shaming ourselves. So for me, this is an overarching umbrella, a theme for me around guilt and shame, which I carry a lot of. And it's crazy how subtle it can be sometimes, just when I think that I've really made it beyond so much of that. And I've been getting into that in my breath work. By the way, I offer a breath work teaching on here if you want to go check that out, and I'm going to have another one out here shortly. So highly recommend breath work, because it really is moving stuff through, and oh my gosh, it's like huge. So the breath work, what was I saying? Oh my gosh, I just kind of lost myself there. The guilt and shame. Oh yeah, doing these other practices. And what I was getting in touch with, and what I have been getting in touch with, is this deep guilt and shame for showing up how I show up, for being myself, which goes against the grain, goes against the norm of society so much. There's so many ways I live my life and have chosen to live my life my whole life that have just totally black sheep of the family, totally on the fringes of society, totally, I've done it all. Heroin addiction, gone to jails, lived on the streets, done all of that, and then come out the other side to just dive into this spiritual path and start leading others on a spiritual journey, and I think that that's part of it. My going through so much hell, gives me a lot of compassion and empathy and a real understanding of the human journey and how we can go down that far, how we can, be in that place when we have such low self-esteem and abandonment issues, trauma, pain, suffering, grief, what have you, abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological, mental, like there's so much that we're carrying, and there's so many ways that we try to deal with this and cope with this. For me, drugs and alcohol was a great way to cope. It wasn't a great way, but it was what I had. I didn't have the tools. My parents didn't teach me any tools. My parents disappeared. My parents kicked me out, like that. I didn't have anything to teach me, so I did what I could, and luckily I found my way through. I'm grateful for that so much, and it's been an interesting journey. But then I move into sex work and doing sacred sexuality. I mean, that's kind of been a part of my life for a very long time, but again, on the outskirts of society, not the norm, don't fit in, and so with all of that, and now I live in a converted shuttle bus out touring the country, again, like on the fringes, like where I'm not welcome in some places. People don't necessarily always want my bus around, right? They're just like, and I can feel that from people. Some people are so welcoming and they're like amazing and they're awesome. Like, oh my God, it's so cool you're living like that. Other people are like, why don't you get out of our area with your weird whatever you're doing there? Very suspicious. But my point being, I've been on the outskirts for a long time, and it with that has come interesting guilt and shame that I've taken on. But I know also, like, I was put up for adoption. My mother got pregnant. I think she was young. I wasn't wanted. So a lot of guilt and shame I took on from her just in the womb. And then my adoptive mother, my new family I got, a lot of guilt and shame in there that I took on as well. So I know it's just kind of like some energy and frequencies that I've been rocking out since conception, and that's, but it's so crazy how deep it goes, and there's been a lot of work. I've done a lot of spiritual work around this, but it's what I'm getting to. There's a point, I know I'm rambling. During some breath work, it was yesterday or the day before, I think it was yesterday, it came through this deep guilt and shame that is not mine. It's the guilt and shame of the feminine. It's a guilt and shame of the collective. It's a guilt and shame of the masculine that we have taken on again from so many of these systems. But that's just been rife in our society for generations. So we are all really rocking out this energy in a much bigger way that has nothing to do with us, but that dictates so much of our lives, so much of our journey. And sexuality is a fucking huge piece of that. It's just a ginormous playing field for guilt and shame, right? No matter how many ways you cut it, it's just like, it's big. So this is my territory. This is my passion. This is my purpose. This is what I'm here for, to help us really open up to a new experience of our sexual energy. I'm just so into it, moving out of fear-based energy in our entire lives, moving into love, connection, communion with self, with source, with the divine, with another, but we have to love ourselves. Before we can have any of that deep connection and communion that we're truly longing for. But how can we love ourselves when we're in guilt and shame around anything. And that's not just our sexuality, that's so many things. And when I started exploring it yesterday, like, there's guilt and shame around so much of my life. I remember when, and now I can see it as a theme. There's just not just sexuality, but it's a fucking huge theme around so much of my life. I remember when I was applying to my master's degree, a master's in thanatology, which is the study of death and dying. I'm a Scorpio, sex and death and transformation and rebirth. That's my jam. I live for this shit. So I was very into death and dying for a while, you know, working at hospice and grief support places, running grief support groups for children, for parents. And so to get my master's degree in death and dying, I was just like, there's a master's in death? Like, oh, hell yeah, I'm so into that. That's my thing. I just lit up. But I felt shamed sharing that with my spiritual teacher. I remember this, just feeling like I was going to be judged. There was something wrong with that. I really wanted her to approve of whatever I was doing. So it's guilt and shame around this stupidest shit that just, it's so, then that's what had me understanding, like, wow, this is such a big theme in my life that has nothing to do with just sexuality, how I'm having sex, the sexual thoughts going through my mind, you know, like, it's just there. So I invite you to explore, where is this showing up for you in your life, and where are you hiding and shutting down parts of yourself that aren't even necessarily. That's funny. You know, where are you fearing judgment or disapproval? And so many of us do. We learned at a very young age to shut parts of ourselves down so we would be accepted by parents, school, friends, society, what have you, clubs, hobbies, the team, whatever. You know, what did we shut down and not share about ourselves for fear of judgment, ridicule, punishment, shaming? We have been so shamed into behaving a certain way, to being a certain way, to living a certain way. I've pushed against it my whole fucking life. I have not let it run my life, but I see that it's still there, you know, and it's just crazy to me, as much as I push back and as much as I support all of us to really push back. This is a collective energy that we are moving through, and there's some big shit going on right now. There's big stuff happening that's really clearing this out. I feel like all this is coming to the surface in such a powerful way, because it's ready to pop and go for a lot of us. We're doing the work. If you're here watching this right now, you're doing the work, right? So, I'm fired up about this because it's huge. I see it in so many of us. I see it with all my clients. I see it with everybody I work through. The men I'm taking through a program right now, and we're in a 12-week program, and that's at the core. It's at the heart of each one of their issues, you know? Shame for showing up how they show up, wanting to hide themselves, shutting themselves down, and shutting down from a very young age. We all learned at a very young age, shut that shit down. Shut it down. We don't even know who the fuck we are anymore because they're so shut down. Hopefully, if you're here watching this, you've moved through a lot of this process and you do know more of yourself. You do know what your passion is. You do know what turns you on. You do know. And you're moving toward that and you're taking steps. If you're not, reach out. I'm here to help. I'm so into all this, so into supporting us to like move out of that fear, shame-based place into love. And part of me like doesn't want to talk about the shame I still experience because like I don't want you to judge me for still being in that place, right? But it is the human condition and it's what we're moving through. And it's nothing like it was, right? So a lot of my shame had me on the streets and in jails and on drugs because there was so much shame from my own childhood and from being put up for adoption, my mother not wanting me. I must have been a bad person if she didn't want me, right? I took that in really fucking deep. I must be a horrible, awful person. And then my mother that I got, the one that adopted me, she would tell me what a horrible, awful person I was, you know? So she totally validated what I already thought about myself. So then I just rocked that out for a long time. I'm a horrible, awful person. There's something very wrong with me. A lot of guilt, a lot of shame for anything I did in my life. really so far on the other side of that. But just like I said, I think some final things are like getting ready to go. So I just want to talk about that. I got very excited and I didn't light our sage. I don't know if I'll be able to light our sage. I'm in my little bus. I'm out in Idaho somewhere, just kind of out. It's not desert necessarily, but it's like grassland kind of, but it's hot. It's probably 100 degrees in my little bus right now, so I have a fan going on me. I don't know if you can hear that. If you can, I apologize. But let's see if I can light this fire. Thank you, fire spirits. Yay, I did it. Okay, so beautiful sage to really cleanse our space. Wow, that's beautiful. Oh yeah. Kind of a funny time to be lighting fire when it is this hot. Woo! Yay. Okay. I feel like I wanted to talk a little bit more about the sexuality piece and bringing all of us on board with it. All of our activities. If we're being conscious and we're being present with our partner, present with ourselves, and even present with our fantasies, and knowing that we're going into fantasies, if we're doing this all in a conscious way, that's fucking great. Enjoy, have fun, you know? But it's when we go unconscious with our sexuality, when we lose touch with ourselves, when we're doing it from a compulsive place to numb out, to escape, to avoid, to connect, to try to connect from a needy, clingy, unhealthy place. That's not good. That's not good for us or for our partner. So it's really on the sacred sexuality path. It's getting very conscious, very clear, very present with our energies, you know? That's the key. So whatever we're doing, we can be very present and conscious with any of it, right? If we're having fantasies and we're with a partner, we share that with them and they're into it, and we're having fun together and we're exploring. That's awesome. If you're having a fantasy and you're with a partner and that person knows nothing about it, you're basically, this is what my spiritual teacher would say, using them to masturbate. That's not cool when you're off in somewhere else and there's somebody here that has no idea where you are and you're not connecting with them consciously. That's a very different thing. That's what I'm talking about with sacred sexuality. It doesn't mean we're like all dressed in white, or I guess not dressed if we're having sex, but you know, in some immaculate experience of communing with the divine through our sexual energy. These things are possible, right? But we can use that to numb out as well. Like I recognized I was doing. I was detaching some way. I was hyper focused on that fantasy. That's a fantasy that I wasn't being present with myself and what was really showing up. What was showing up? What was some other like, let's get it, let's go, right? That's what was showing up for me in that moment, and I just needed to be present with that and welcome that in and go, yeah, fuck yeah, that's an expression of my energy as well, right? And that's freaking hot and sexy, and I love that shit, and I would never want to give up that shit out of shame or blame or guilt or punishment, right? We bring it all onto the path, bring in all of our shadows, all of our lights, all the ways we want to express, so long as we're conscious with it, right? Consciousness and presence, that is the essence of sacred sexuality, right? And not getting, not deluding ourselves, or, you know, not getting lost in fantasy. And again, those fantasies can look many different ways. They can be going too towards the light, you know, too lost in that. That's not real either, you know, that's not real. So really important piece there I wanted to bring in. So this is deep penetration. We get deep in with the cards. We connect with the oracle to support us. This might go a little longer. I just, like I said, I'm pretty sparked by what's going on right now and by the things that I'm moving through in a really powerful way. This is some very big energy, and I think it's big for all of us, and that's why I'm here, to help us move through this. I'm so into it. What's on the other side of this guilt and shame? What's on the other side of like just willing to get it in the without feeling any kind of weirdness around that or thinking that's not spiritual? Like, that is so ridiculous. And I know that, and I have. It's just like I said, sometimes these things come up in a bigger way that gets sparked, so I want to bring that in. So, all right, thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, Father Sun. Thank you to our ancestors, archangels, spirit guides and helpers, all of our beautiful sacred masculine and sacred feminine energies, deities, supports, ascended masters, whoever it is that we connect with. Thank you all for holding such beautiful space for us. Thank you to these beautiful cards, this gorgeous wisdom tool to support us in our process. God, Goddess, thank you all. Looking for any words of wisdom to support us through this process, to move through guilt and shame, to release guilt and shame, to recognize that first and foremost, some of this is so subtle and so sneaky and so unconscious that we don't even recognize where we're rocking it out. So this is an invitation to you to look at where is it showing up and where is it keeping you from being in your power and where is it keeping you playing small and not fully showing up and shining your light bright. This week in the program was the solar plexus chakra, because we do an energy healing for each week of the program. So moving up the chakras. So this week was solar plexus, and it's just like, holy shit, I can feel it, like really clearing. So I think that's what part of the shame is too, like really clearing out what is keeping me from shining my light bright, what is keeping me from owning all parts of my sexual expression, you know, stagnant blocked energy at the solar plexus. So do reach out if you're interested in getting some energy healing sessions, energy restoration sessions. I've been calling them a few different things, but really clearing that shit out of your system, you know, bypass the mind. We don't need to get into story. We don't need to think too much about it. Get in there, just clear that shit out. It's intense and powerful. It's like, whoa, nuts. So I think that's part of what's going on too, because last week was the sacral chakra, you know, we're moving up. So clearing, wow. Whew. It's going deep. So thank you, beautiful wisdom tools, all of our spirit guides, again, for supporting us so beautifully. Any words of wisdom to support us in this process? Oh, there's that again. Ooh. Okay, I don't need all three. All right, we'll take them. We'll take them. Trust. One more. It's 5, right? That number of transformation, such a beautiful number. Whew. Okay. Thank you, gorgeous cards. I appreciate it. All right. Whew. It's hot. It's hot in here. Fuck. It's seriously got to be 100 degrees. Whew. I'm melting. All right. Let me take a moment to look at what we've got here. The first card out was the Ace of Cups. This was trying to come out for me earlier today. This is a beautiful gift from the divine. This is the cups. This is our emotions. This is intuition. This is sacred feminine. There's so much wisdom in what we are discussing right now, right here. This is a huge gift from the divine, to not be shunning and shaming any aspect of our sexuality, to bring it all on board, to really open to this process, to embrace all of ourselves, embrace our humanity, embrace the emotions that come up around all of this as well, embrace our intuition. What are we intuitively being guided into right now in this moment? As we discuss guilt and shame, what is intuitively coming through for you that you know, like, wow, okay, now I'm seeing that, I'm seeing what I'm ready to release there, and what I'm ready to move through, and what I'm ready to embrace in myself. I'm ready to do this a different way. What have I been shunning and shaming about myself? We learn. The systems do it really well to us in the beginning. The family does it really well to us in the beginning. And not maliciously, of course, right? The family anyway. And then we do it to ourselves. We learn beautifully. Where are we shunning and shaming ourselves? That's what I am working with. I'm shaming my own damn self. Like, what the fuck? It's so subtle and so sneaky, because again, I've learned so well. Nothing external is doing that. My guides and angels aren't judging me. The source isn't judging me. Nobody's judging me except for my damn self. Like, what the fuck? I've taken it on so well. I've embodied that mentality that I do it to myself. And this is why I so look up to other people when I see them just rocking out being themselves, just rocking out who they are and really shining their light bright, really stepping into it. Those are the people that really inspire us and that we look up to, right? The people who are out there fucking doing it, out there doing it, which is how I try to live my life. I'm out here doing it and not letting things shun and shame me, not letting those belief systems hinder or harbor me or keep me down, you know? Like being in sacred sexuality, being in sex work, I freaking love it. It's my jam. I love it, and I'm not going to let people tell me that's not okay, because I know different. But it's my own self that I discover, like, oh, I'm doing my own shunning and shaming of myself. So where you're invited right now to look at that, explore that for yourself, and step into a new way. Step into a new way. This is gorgeous liberation right here. This is beautiful energy. And yeah, and then we move into, here's the 5. We have 2 5s. We've got the 5 of Wands. The Wands is a real spiritual, transformative fire energy. And there's all this conflict here going on. So where are you fighting your own change and transformation? Where are you not allowing that? And where are you focusing on spilt cups here? Now here's the 5 of cups. So we've got 2 5s. The 5s are a very, actually we've got 3 5s because we have the Hierophant coming up. 3 5s, 5 5 5. It is change and transformation. Look it up, or maybe you've been seeing that number. Powerful, powerful, powerful number. Change, transformation. Own it. But where are you looking at what is missing, what's not here versus what is here? You know, this guy, if he just turned around and could see all the bounty and beauty and abundance in his cups right there, as it pertains to this, with shunning and shaming, and we're looking at that, like maybe we're looking at what we have lost through that process. It's just part of our process. Let's just turn it around, shift the perspective. Like, yeah, okay, so we had all that judgment, shame, blame, whatever. It's caused havoc. Now it's time to do a different way. Now let's move forward. So we don't get hung up on any loss or what has happened. We just take action now. We recognize for ourselves. We embrace the challenge. We embrace the human experience. Because that's what it is, right? It is about this journey, and who knows what the journey is for. Who knows why we went through all this shaming and such, but we're coming out on the other side much stronger now, and we know so much more about ourselves. This is the human journey, so embrace it, embrace the journey. And then through that, when we get through that journey, as we're moving through the journey, we don't have to get to the end. It's like this is the star. This is such spiritual growth and transformation right here. This is she's out there. She's naked. She doesn't give a fuck anymore. She's just like, yep, and she's in this water and the land. She's very nourished and held and supported. All this gorgeous sacred feminine energy. She is just totally in her power, in her sexuality. Look at, she's naked. She really just doesn't give a fuck. She's like, yeah, here's me. Here's who I am. And I'm being totally nourished by the divine. Totally nourished in my sacred feminine essence. Amazing. And this takes a lot of strength. As we go through this, we gain so much strength on our journey. Yes, I'm still moving through stuff, but I'm so freaking powerful about it now. I don't get lost in it. I can see it. I can see what I'm moving through. The stuff comes in. I'm like, oh, okay, working with some guilt and shame right now. Where's that coming from? I thought I'd move through so much of this. Let's get into some practices. Let's get into some breath work. Let's talk to my guides. What am I moving through right now? And it turns out, like, it is such a huge collective deep generational trauma that I'm moving through, and I'm feeling that, like, I was wailing yesterday, just moving this energy, just like, whoa, I was intense, right? But I don't get lost in it anymore, and that's where this strength comes from and comes in as we go through this process. It's beautiful. We're so supported. We're so held. Look at that infinity over her. It's a gorgeous, powerful energy. And this is the 8. What a gorgeous card. So then that moves into the Hierophant, which is really what this energy is so much about. Here's this guy. Look at these other 2. They're giving their power away to him, bowing down. And he's like, yep, I'm the one with all the power. I make the decisions. I tell you what's right, what's wrong, and how to be. And that's what we've grown up in. That's what we've been in, but we're moving out of it. And again, no shaming of that system either. Who knows what the process was? We don't see the bigger picture. It's all divine. It's all perfection. Like they say in the big book of AA. Either God is everything or God is nothing. We can't have, we don't get to decide what's sacred and profane like I was doing earlier. Like, this is okay, this isn't. No, no, no. That's what this person has done. That's what this system has done. That's how I read this card. I know other people can read it a different way, but that's how I see it. So that's how my guides know to talk to me. So these cards mean different things for different people, right? It's a wisdom tool to talk to you, what it means to you. So that's what this card means to me. It's about the systems that we're moving through, especially the religious systems, but telling us what is right and wrong, what's okay, what's sin, what's evil, what's divine, what's sacred. No, no, no. It's all divine. It's all sacred. It's all part of our experience. We got to embrace the whole journey. The whole journey. So we're moving out of that, and that's one of the fives. It's interesting that the fives are all these kind of darker energies, right? There's conflict, there's sorrow, there's rulership, but in a not healthy way. There's agenda. These are the 555. So it's time to change and move out of this. Move out of this. We're moving out into this, into these brand new ways of being. This is the sacred, right? When we embrace all of ourselves, that's the sacred. We are these gorgeous, powerful, beautiful beings of light. Beautiful beings, spiritual beings having a physical experience. And I invite us all into this much more conscious and present physical experience in our beautiful bodies on this gorgeous planet, connecting with each other, having a blast, having a fucking blast in whatever way your sexual expression shows up. I just kind of flashed into my own little fantasy. Oh my gosh. But it feels good, right? We don't need to shame that. We don't need to shame that. Huh. Wow. That's pretty good. 36 minutes. It usually goes over 40. I thought we were going to be here for quite a while, but that message feels pretty clear. Let me look at it again, because sometimes, like I said last time, I always get on the other side of this and go, oh, how did I not see that? How didn't I mention that? Okay, so what's coming through as I look at this a different way, and there's always this progression. It's like a story, which is how I see it myself. So we're being offered a new way. We're being offered a new way. That's why you're here. Sacred sexuality, something about it spoke to you, right? We're being offered a new way by the divine within us. We are the divine. The divine isn't out there. It's not some external thing. It's not some dude in the sky. It's not some other energy. That's another problem. That's where they got us here, right? We've been outsourcing our power, which is what these people are doing. The two, can you see the two little guys down on the bottom? Bowing to that guy. It's outsourcing power. It's outsourcing. We've been outsourcing our power. Now we're being handed back our power. Here's the divine handing us back all of our power, right? Here you go. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's nourishing. It's lovely. I consider this one of the most spiritual cards of the deck. I just think it's just so, and it's emotions. It's intuition. We're being handed back our gorgeous, beautiful, sacred feminine emotions and intuition and a deep connection to the truth of all of our being. We've been tuned the masculine. Again, no shunning, shaming. It's just been our process. Now we're returning back. We're returning back to this gorgeous energy. We're bringing the feminine back in that was so shunned and shamed. The feminine is, that's what I'm really connecting with yesterday, the shunning and shaming of the feminine energy, the sexuality that men have fully embodied as well. The masculine is fully embodied, because you can't take one away. You can't shun and shame one with the other not being deeply affected, right? So it's a deep collective experience. So we talk about feminine and masculine, but it's all one energy, right? So the feminine's been shunned and shamed by this. It's being handed back to us. Here it is. Here is all the feminine energy. Here's this gorgeous, sacred feminine energy. Yes, it's on offer. It's on offer. It's beautiful. But we're gonna maybe run into some conflict around this, because this is new. This is a lot to move through. This is our own resistance and our own stuff that's coming up, the own challenges on our spiritual path. I had this clarity a moment ago. Now I feel like it's kind of moved away. But I think this is like a lot of inner conflict and tension that we need to be aware of in ourselves. We need to see how this is showing up for us. How is this showing up for us? You know? So where are we bumping up against ourselves? Like me with like, I want to be on the other side of this. I know the beauty. I know it all. And yet there's still this shit that I'm moving through, right? And it can be sad. It can be sad and frustrating. And it's just like, why aren't I through this, right? Focusing on the loss and the frustration and the when there's all this beauty right here. So don't get lost in this shit. Don't get lost as you move through this path. The inner conflict, whatever that is, the conflict with the external, you know, if you run into that as well on your journey, you know, just bring it back inside, bring it back into your own strength, into your own, which is here too. So as we move along this journey, you know, we can run into stuff. We can run into challenges. We run into our own resistance. We run into resistance from friends and family. We run into resistance from the systems, from whatever, you know, and it can be easy to focus on that. But stay in your power, and look at all the gorgeous beauty that you're moving into. And this is what's on the other side, or as we are stepping into it, you know, it's not on the other side. We can experience all of these things at the same time, right? I can go through all sorts of shit in one day. You know, one day I can go from here to here to here to like, what the fuck, you know, like all over, especially right now. We're in Cancer season, a lot of emotions. So, but this is what we're moving into. And what's on the other side of this is you being strong in your power, not giving a fuck what anybody has to say, what they have to think. You're just strong in your power and you're rocking it out. You know who you are. You're in your truth. You're in your heart. It's not about fuck you. It's just like, I know me and I'm not going to let you tell me who I get to be. Tell me what's right for me. It's a strength. It's a strength. It's a strength of being yourself and knowing yourself and learning yourself and stepping into yourself. Not in an aggressive way, but just in a like, you know, I know who I am and I'm confident in that and I'm going to shine it and rock it out, you know, and not let this take over, not let this rule. So be vigilant with yourselves, vigilant. These are old systems. This shit goes deep. I'm telling you right now, I'm like deep in it for again, like what, why? Done so much, but I think the systems, the astrology right now, stuff is really moving through and it's getting ready to pop. So I think a lot of us are in this kind of tumultuous thing as stuff is moving through. Don't get attached to it. It's not you. Depersonalize. This is bigger collective energies. We're moving through huge stuff. Look at what's going on the planet. It's huge. Try not to personalize it. Try to step away, okay? And that's what I'm realizing. I'm like, okay, a lot of this isn't actually mine. So I'm just moving it through. I think a lot of us are here. We're like filters on the planet. We're filtering. Those of us that are here doing the work are here filtering the shit out. And we're bringing in a new consciousness. And what's coming behind us, these newer generations, they're at a different experience as well, and a different consciousness. So we're really helping to usher out, to escort out some of these old systems that just aren't serving us, right? But in order to do that, we feel it and we move through it. A lot of us have dealt with a lot of trauma, a lot of grief, a lot of sorrow, a lot of hardship, a lot of heartache, a lot of judging and shunning and shaming and keeping ourselves really small. But we're on the other side of that. We're moving through that. And some of it, I think we're experiencing some really heavy stuff right now as it moves out, you know. And the astrology, I listen to a lot of astrology and it's really been, and there's prophecy, right? There's a lot of prophecies from a lot of different cultures. This is the time that we're in right now. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So I think we're experiencing some really big stuff as it's moving out. And that's what's coming through for me and what my guides have been telling me. Like, yes, it's on its way. And that's what a lot of the astrologers, psychics, prophecies, etc. are saying. So it's kind of like it gets worse before it gets better. So just hold on to your knickers. We got this. Reach out if you need support. I offer so many different support sessions, like spiritual guidance and support programs. I have energy healing sessions. If you really need to move some of this energy, don't try to do this all by yourself, right? Get help, seek help, really reach out if you need some support, or find somebody else. Do the breath work, do meditations. There's so many tools out there right now. And then when you're ready to experience more of your sexual energy and want to explore that as well, I offer sessions, both what I call sacred sexuality sessions, which are a little more intentional and ritual, and then just other sessions that don't have so much intention. I mean, there's always intention, but you know what I mean? Because I like it all. I want it all. One of my affirmations, I'm worthy of having it all. I'm worthy of having all the experiences I want, and that means all the sexual experiences I want, right? So check out my website when you're ready for that. And when you're ready to really get into this, we're going to India in November for 2 weeks to deep dive into all of this and really connect with our sacred masculine, sacred feminine power and energy within. This is authentic tantra. This is internal connection within, strengthening our feminine and masculine within. It's the union within, because again, if we don't have a strong and powerful union within with those energies, we're not going to have it outside. We're not going to have it with source. We need to strengthen that within ourselves, and that's what this pilgrimage is all about. We're going to be doing so many different practices, activities, seeing different gorgeous, going to different sacred sites and temples, and really connecting with these energies and bathing in the Ganga. We're bathing in a goddess. I mean, what? She's going to be washing away so much. She's gorgeous. She's stunning. She's exquisite. And you're going to fall in love. You're going to fall in love with so much of India. It's amazing. So, and exploring our sexuality there, our sensual sexual energy, right? Again, it's releasing the unhealthy toxic and really stepping into a new way of expressing and a new understanding of how these energies move through us. What's important to us? How do we want to express? Where have we been keeping ourselves down, right? And eating amazing Indian food. Like, oh my God. Woo! You just can't. I've eaten a lot of Indian food here in the States, and nothing compares. It's just like there's magical things happening in India on so many levels, and their food is like amazing. So, gosh, what else? Drum circles. We're going to have drum circles and breath work, and we're going to be doing sacred sexuality ritual and just like really getting into our own bodies, connecting with each other in very gorgeous, sensual ways. So, check that out. Link in description below when you're ready. Early Bird Special is alive and well right now. So let's go. Awesome. Thank you all so much for being here. And now I did definitely go over time a little bit. So, but that's okay. I love connecting with you all. I can't wait for further connections. I'm in Idaho right now. Won't be here for long, and I'll be in Montana shortly. So if you're in the Montana area, let's get together and have some gorgeous, delicious, sensual exploration together. Oh my God. Yes, and then I'll be back in the Pacific Northwest in no time, then off to Peru, back to Oregon, off to India, and maybe Egypt. So, woo! So excited to connect with you somewhere along the way. Let's do this. Let's clear out. Let's kick that guilt and shame to the curb, right? I love it. I love it. Let's do that. Let's embody and embrace a new way. Let's step into our divine sacred birthright, into these gorgeous bodies and this gorgeous sexual and sensual energy. Whew, vitality, passion, purpose, alive, she cried. Wow. All right, everybody. And thanks to those who are sending donations to support this channel. I so freaking appreciate it. That really just means the world to me. It really lights my heart up. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And all right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye all.